Hi YouTube, I'm back. And as y'all see in the video, I have my baby. I thought I should come back and explain it better, like what happened, explain it better than what I did in that video, because I was in pain and tired and everything else, so I thought maybe I should explain it better. But I had him Wednesday, July 13th, and as you can hear, he has the hiccups. I'm going to show y'all him, and then he just sneezed. Bless you, baby. So I'm going to show y'all him at the end. But I had him at 8:17 Wednesday morning, natural. Yeah. So let's get into this. So I went to the doctor on the 12th that morning, and he said I was 4 centimeters dilated and that I was pretty much in labor, and that he doesn't think I was gonna make it to the weekend. He thinks I was actually gonna have the baby that day. So he said, you know, if you was to go up to the hospital, I wouldn't send you home because you're 4 centimeters dilated, but I think you should go home and labor there for a little bit. So I did, and the contractions were intense, but it wasn't nothing that I wasn't already used to going through. And so I was just kind of boiling some bottles, trying to make sure I got things ready for him for when he came. My mother-in-law called my husband, because my husband was like, oh, well, I'm just going to wait because you're only 4 centimeters dilated. I'm not going to worry about rushing. My mother-in-law called him and was like, no, you need to get home right now, because she can go from a 4 to a 7 in like 30 minutes. You need to get home. So he rushes home. We head to the hospital with my son, and he wasn't allowed in the back, so my husband had to stay in the waiting area the whole time while they were checking me, and I was still a 4. They said I was having some contractions, and they were far apart, but they were saying that they were like really intense. I guess they have like a scale, you know, from like 0 to 100, and they were saying my contractions were to 100, and I can actually see them on the paper, you know, the little thing doing it. I can see it. Bless you, baby. It was going all the way to 100. So I was like, okay, so what does this mean? They get in contact with my doctor, and he was like, well, she's not moving, so let's just send her home. And I'm like, well, he told me that if I was to come to the hospital, that he wouldn't send me home. And the nurses and the doctors there are kind of like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Why is he sending you home? So they checked me. They tried to give me some fluids, like some water, to see if it would stop my contractions. And the contractions weren't stopping. So they decided to give me an IV. And yes, I have tattoos or whatever, but I don't do needles. Like tattoos and needles, that's a whole different kind of pain. So they went to give me IV, and I'm having a slight panic attack. Like I said, I don't do needles. So she's just like, oh, it's all right, you know, it's okay. So she's looking at my left hand. She's trying to find a vein. She sticks it in, my vein bursts, because I have little baby veins on top of the pain. My vein burst. So now I had this big old knot on top of my hand. So she tried to push it, stop the bleeding. Then she was like, okay, let's try putting it here. Found the vein, let's put it here. So put your hand in the fist. Put my hand in the fist. And where she previously had did it, it spurts out all on her like a little volcano. And I'm just like, oh shit, sorry. And she laughs about it, and another nurse comes in, oh, you should have seen the little geyser we had. And I'm sitting there like, Shit's not funny. This shit hurts. I want you to stop. Like, or hurry up. One of the two. Just hurry up. So she finally got it in. Very painful. Whatever. And then they keep, like, they're wanting to do blood work because they were going to do an epidural. So, like I said, baby veins, couldn't find a vein. So they kept sticking me in my hand. This is the first time ever I've had blood work taken from my hand. That shit is painful. Like, normally with blood and they're taking it from my arm, I'm cool. Doesn't hurt. Good. This shit hurts. And they stuck me about, I'm going to say 4 times in the hand because they couldn't find the vein again. Finally, they got it in. So they was like, well, we're going to transfer you to the room. But your husband can't come back here until he takes your son home. So we had to wait till my brother-in-law got to the house for him to take him home. So once he got my son home, he made it back. I'm still having some contractions. They're up there at 100 or whatever else, still far apart. So there's like, well, you know, whenever you get ready to have the epidural, you can have it. And I'm like, I can still kind of handle it right now. It's cool. You know, we can wait. So they started getting more intense. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready for the epidural. The guy comes in, and to be honest, the guy, I don't know if he believed me, but the fuck I got a lot for it. He was sticking me one time in the back, and my fucking leg jumped. Had no control over it. He hit a nerve or something. My leg jumped. And I'm like, I have no control over it. Oh, I understand, but you have to try to be still. If I have no control over it, I have no fucking control over it. How am I supposed to be still if you are punching a nerve and my leg is jumping? So this motherfucker gets it in the first time. And he's giving me the medicine. And I'm going numb. And he's like, you're going numb way too fast. So we need to take this out. We need to do it again. Does it again. This shit is painful, y'all. On my spine. Like he's pushing. And I'm wanting to cry because I'm having contractions at the same time he's pushing. So he does it a third time. And he's like, you know what? We can't do it no more. It might just be your anatomy and maybe you moving sent it too far into your spine. So you're getting the medicine too fast to where you're going numb. And to be honest, I didn't tell him because he was getting on my fucking nerves. But my chest was kind of going numb. So I just told him that it was my stomach down, numb, whatever else. So he takes it out and he was just like, well, you know, basically you just pretty much had a spinal tap. But I don't think we should do the epidural. So I'm kind of thinking, fuck. If this stuff, if it wears off by the time me having the baby, I'm fucked. I mean, I keep saying fuck, but I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a crazy experience. So my husband comes in, and from the medicine, I'm nauseated. So I threw up like 3 times, y'all. And the way they had me, the little bag, I'm like, blah, in the bag. And it's a very weird experience, trying to throw up sideways in a little baggie. I was just like, okay, well, just throw up on the bed. So you don't have to clean that. So they cleaned it, whatever else. Turned me to my other side. I'm like, I gotta throw up again, y'all. So then after I'm like, I'm good. Don't even throw up no more. They kept saying that my heart rate was really high. So they kept taking my heart rate, wouldn't go down. And they was like, okay, we'll have to keep monitoring you. So I was like, whatever. The medicine is still working, so I'm not feeling nothing. But I'm shaking. Like violently shaking. Like I'll try to calm down, breathe, and stop, and then it just, like I had no control of it. And my husband was freaking out. He was like, yeah, the fuck they do to you? Because you were fine when I left, and now you're shaking uncontrollably. So the whole time he was watching me, and he was freaking out. And I was just like, I'm good as long as this medicine don't wear off. Lo and behold, starts getting closer to like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, shit's wearing off. So I'm starting to feel the contractions again. And oh my God, they're closer together and they're harder. So I'm laying there and I'm having a contraction and I'm kind of screaming a little bit through them because they're intense. Hold that thought. Okay, I'm back. We had a diaper situation and it's nap time. So, like I was saying, I was having contractions. They were getting really strong, and then I'm laying there. I just finished having a contraction. It's going away, and then all of a sudden I feel something warm down there, and I was like, oh shit, did I peel myself? And then I thought about it. I said, well, no, she put a catheter in me because I wasn't able to walk. So how did I peel myself? So I'm calling my husband, Trey, and he's knocked out over there. Trey. Then he finally wakes up and he's like, what? I think my water broke. Can you look to see if it broke? Because I can't move too well. So he lifts up the sheet and he looks. He said, yeah, it looks a little damp down there. Let's call the nurse. The nurse comes in and I was like, ma'am, I think my water broke. And he checked and he said it was wet down there. She was just like, oh, he checked? Not supposed to be doing my job. I was like, well, sorry, didn't want to call you in for no reason. So she comes, she looks, she was like, yeah, your water broke. She didn't tell me at the time that it had meconium in it. So he had a bowel movement. He had a small bowel movement because he was still, after everything was said and done, he was still pooping out the black stuff. So he's still getting out all the meconium. So it was like a small bowel movement. But which is crazy because my first son also had a bowel movement. And my husband had a bowel movement. So maybe it's something to do with my husband's genes. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. After that, I tell you, I got so much worse. So much worse. To where they finally called the doctor to see if they can give me some type of pain medication that was going to help me relax in between the contractions. And it did. It had me feeling high in between the contractions. So I'd have a contraction, sitting straight up in the bed, trying not to push. And then the medicine would hit, and then I just... contraction. Oh, yeah. Oh. It was so weird. And then it finally wore off. My husband had to come back to the house to get my son because my brother-in-law was going to work. And so I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to have this baby by myself. So I'm laying there, I'm having the contractions. I'm at a 9, almost a 10, and they're so intense. I have one of the nurse's arm in one hand and her hand in the other, and I pretty much like corkscrewing her arm, which I feel so bad. I was like, I'm sorry, it hurts so bad, to where I was like screaming, and it was like, breathe through it. So I was laying there and I had my head back and I was focusing on one set of dots in the ceiling and was trying to breathe through it, trying to get through it. Doctor was late. So they was like, no, wait, they were getting the room ready. Wait, don't push. And I'm trying not to push. And then all of a sudden, I'm having a contraction and I lose control over my body. And I'm like, no, my body is pushing by itself. And I'm like, I can't stop. And she's like, wait, let me go get my gloves. Hold on. And I'm like, I can't stop. And like, I think I was having a panic attack. And I was like, I can't stop. And they was like, okay, you need to calm down. You need to move your body over, and you need to get control. There was no controlling this situation, honey. No control whatsoever. One of the on-call doctors had to come in because, like I said, my doctor wasn't there yet. Nurse on each side, and I'm flipping out, and I'm like, I can't stop. Every time I have a contraction, I can't stop. They're just like, breathe, honey, breathe. And then like I'll push, and I'm like, no, I can't do this. So I'm kicking and punching and flailing around, and I know they was like, because all of them were white, and I know they were probably like, oh, this black bitch has lost her mind. She's kicking me. I'm so sorry. Had no control over it. So I'm kicking, and they're looking at me like, you have to get control. They're trying to get me to look them in the eye. You have to get control over this situation. You have to be calm and push. You need to focus. So I'm like, fuck. So finally get some sense of what was going on. Grab my legs, and I'm pushing, and it's hurting so bad to push, to where I had to put my hand down. It was like, I'm on fire. It's burning. I'm burning down there. I'm on fire. And they made me move my hand like, no, don't touch, just push. Finally, I push. The doctor feels like he's scratching at my stuff, trying to get it back from over the baby's head. Finally, I push again for like the third or fourth time, and his head pops out. And it's like, oh, his head's out. And I breathe a sigh of relief, and then the rest of him just comes out. Not pushing, he just falls out. And I'm pretty sure the nurses, doctors they're upset with me. Whatever. That was a crazy experience. So I'm looking up at the ceiling, it's like, oh, fuck. I'm dying. And then he kind of throws the baby. I'm not going to say throw. I'm going to say place. Felt like he was throwing my baby. But he places my baby on my chest, and it kind of snaps me back into reality. I was like, oh shit, he's here. And so I look down, and he's looking up at me, covered in stuff. And I look at him, I was like, oh. And then they get him, and then I kind of realized what was going on. And I look at both the nurses. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to kick you. I'm sorry. Like, I felt so bad. Then the nurse that came in that was helping me throughout the night, and she looked at me, she was like, you did it. You did good. And I was just like, thank you. Thank you. I don't know how many times I cried that night. Finally, they get him cleaned up. He cries a little bit. And then they hand him to me. And he's looking up at me. And I'm looking at him like, oh, my baby. And I pull his hat back, and he has a crap load of hair. And I'm like, what? Where's all that from? Because my first son was bald-headed, y'all. Child, my baby was bald-headed, no eyebrows, no nothing. Nothing. This baby has a head full of hair. It has little hairs on his leg like he a grown man. Where did he get all that hair from? I don't know. Then they finally moved me to the room. And my husband comes, and he sees the head full of hair, and he looked at me like, yeah, I know. So, yeah. That pretty much is what happened. And this is Rainbow Baby. He was 8 pounds and 7 ounces. 8 pounds 7 ounces, and he was 19.5 inches long. His name is Cameron, y'all, and he be frowning. He not grumpy, but he be frowning. But yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Bye.